Japan is a country known for its advanced technology and futuristic lifestyle. However, when it comes to electric vehicles, or EVs, Japan has been slow to catch up. While countries around the world are quickly switching to battery-powered cars, electric vehicles still make up only a very small part of car sales in Japan. Big companies like Toyota and Honda continue to focus more on hybrid cars instead of fully electric ones. But now, a new and tiny company is starting to change that. A small electric vehicle that costs only about $7,000 is becoming popular in Japan. It's called the Mibbit, a super compact, single-seat EV made by a Japanese startup named KG Motors. KG Motors was created in June 2022 by Kazunari Kusunoki, who grew up in Higashi, Hiroshima, a small city in Japan's Hiroshima prefecture. Like many rural areas in Japan, the roads there are very narrow, making it hard for regular-sized cars to get through. Kusunoki, who is now 43 years old, saw how the current transportation system wasn't working well, especially for elderly people and communities that are getting smaller over time. He realized that the big high-tech cars sold worldwide didn't really fit the everyday needs of people living in rural or suburban Japan. Kusunoki's idea didn't come from a big business meeting or a fancy lab. Instead, it came from his experience making videos on YouTube. Before starting KG Motors, he spent years creating online content. Through his videos, he heard directly from regular people about their problems with transportation. Many were upset that car companies were only focused on powerful, expensive, and large vehicles. But in real life, especially for older people, there was a need for something much simpler and easier to use just for getting around the neighborhood. Many small towns in Japan are facing big problems like not having enough taxis, fewer bus routes, and fewer people living there. Kusunoki saw a gap and wanted to fill it, not with big, fancy electric cars, but with something simple, small, and useful. That's how KG Motors decided to focus on making very functional and efficient vehicles instead of trying to compete with traditional car makers on looks or speed. Even today, Japan's rate of switching to electric vehicles is much lower than in other developed countries. In 2023, only about 3.5% of new cars sold in Japan were electric. Around the world, the average was about 18%. Even though Chinese companies like BYD sold over 4.3 million EVs worldwide in 2024, they barely sold more than 2,200 cars in Japan. Toyota only sold about 2,000 electric cars across the entire country. One reason is that Japanese companies have long supported hybrid cars, especially Toyota with its multi-pathway strategy that encourages many types of clean energy vehicles. But Kusunoki didn't want to follow that trend. He had a different idea. His answer was the Mibbit. The Mibbit is a very small electric car. It's only about 2.49 meters long, or just under 98 inches, making it one of the shortest four-wheeled EVs you can find anywhere in the world. The Mibbit is a very small car, and its height is less than 1.5 meters, which helps it move easily through Japan's narrow neighborhood roads. It's even smaller than Japan's well-known K cars, which are already considered tiny by global standards. This size makes the Mibbit perfect for places where normal-sized or large electric vehicles simply can't go. The car's compact design was done on purpose to solve problems faced in tight areas where space is limited. Inside, the Mibbit runs on a simple electric motor powered by a lithium-ion battery. Its performance isn't meant to match big, fast electric cars. Instead, it's made for short trips close to home. A full charge can take the car up to 100 kilometers, about 62 miles. And its top speed is 60 kilometers per hour, about 37 miles per hour. While this might sound slow, it's fast enough for local travel around small towns or rural neighborhoods. Charging the Mibbit is also very easy and practical. It doesn't need any special or expensive charging stations. You can plug it into a regular power outlet at home, and the battery will be fully charged in about 5 hours. This is especially helpful for people in rural areas where fast charging stations are rare or don't exist at all. The structure of the Mibbit is built using something called a monocoque frame. This means the whole car is shaped from one main piece, instead of being made from many parts attached together. This kind of design is normally used in race cars or airplanes because it's light and strong. In the Mibbit, it helps lower the number of parts, reduce weight, and make the car easier and cheaper to build. Inside the car, you'll only find the parts that are truly necessary. There's a battery, a motor, steering and brake systems, some basic lights and controls. Nothing more. The dashboard is very simple, and there are no extra features like air conditioning, touchscreens, or fancy seats. That's because the Mibbit isn't trying to be a luxury car. It's meant to be a basic tool, an affordable, useful way to get around. One of the most unique things about the Mibbit is that it only has one seat. Unlike other small electric cars that usually offer 2 seats or more, the Mibbit is built just for one person. Kusunoki, the founder of KG Motors, designed it with specific people in mind, especially elderly residents, delivery workers, and people who live in small towns where buses or taxis are no longer available. With Japan's aging population and fewer young people being born, this kind of targeted design makes a lot of sense. The car is also extremely light. While KG Motors hasn't released an exact weight yet, experts believe it weighs under 400 kilograms. That puts it in the same category as small mopeds or light quadricycles. Being so light helps in 2 ways. First, the car doesn't need a powerful motor or a large battery to work well. Second, it keeps the cost of building and selling the car very low. Because of all these design choices, the Mibbit is incredibly affordable. It sells for around 1 million yen, or about $7,000 before taxes. That's far cheaper than any other electric car in Japan, even the most basic ones. By keeping everything simple and focusing on what people really need, KG Motors has created a smart and practical solution for local travel in modern Japan. The Mibbit is not just affordable. It's one of the cheapest electric vehicles available in Japan. While the popular Nissan Sakura starts at around 2.5 million yen, or roughly $17,000, and new EVs from Chinese company BYD are expected to be priced similarly, the Mibbit is far more budget-friendly. At only about 1 million yen, around $7,000, it's opening the door for people who were previously priced out of the electric vehicle market. But the Mibbit isn't just attracting private drivers. Many of the 2,250 pre-orders KG Motors has received so far have come from businesses, like rental companies and local delivery services. For example, in areas like the Fuji 5 Lakes region, small EVs like this are already being used by tour companies to offer quiet, low-impact rides. Even major retailers like 7-Eleven Japan are interested in vehicles like the Mibbit for short-distance deliveries in tight urban areas. With its simple electrical systems and low maintenance needs, the Mibbit fits perfectly into these roles. It doesn't have advanced tech features like touchscreens or in-car apps, and that's part of the point. This is a vehicle made for daily use in small spaces, not for long trips or highway driving. KG Motors has built its business around a very focused strategy. The company is not trying to compete with luxury EVs or family-sized vehicles. Instead, it targets people with very specific needs, such as elderly residents in the countryside, urban dwellers who face daily traffic and parking problems, and people who need a second, smaller vehicle for running quick errands. In a country where nearly 30% of the population is over 65, this approach is not only smart, it may be essential. Many small towns in Japan are losing population and receiving little investment in public transport. The Mibbit gives these communities a new option for getting around. When KG Motors opened reservations for the Mibbit in late 2024, the response was strong. Over 1,000 pre-orders came in during the first month. By May 2025, that number had more than doubled to 2,250. This is a big deal when you consider the company's total production goal, just 3,300 units by March 2027. That means most of the upcoming vehicles have already been claimed. In comparison, Toyota, the largest automaker in Japan, sold only about 2,000 electric vehicles across the entire country in 2024. BYD did slightly better, with 2,200 units. This shows that while big companies are still slow to gain traction in Japan's EV market, smaller players like KG Motors are finding real demand. KG Motors is taking a careful, step-by-step approach to production. The first group of 300 Mibbit vehicles is expected to be delivered by March 2026. The company knows it won't make a profit on this first batch because early production costs are high. But they expect to start turning a profit in later batches, once they improve their manufacturing process and build more efficiently. Their long-term goal is to produce 10,000 units per year. That's still small by global car industry standards, but for ultra-compact EVs in Japan, it could make KG Motors one of the top players in the field. Even though the Mibbit doesn't qualify as an official K car under Japanese rules, mainly because it only has one seat and a lower speed limit, it still serves a similar purpose and could compete with K cars in many areas. Many of the current pre-orders have come from commercial businesses rather than individual buyers. Rental companies, especially those in tourist areas like Fuji 5 Lakes, are interested in the Mibbit because it's cheap, easy to drive, and perfect for local sightseeing. Delivery companies, such as 7-Eleven Japan, already use similar mini vehicles and are now considering the Mibbit for their last-mile delivery operations. These types of business users could give KG Motors steady income while they continue to build awareness and trust with individual customers. Even if private sales are slow at first, commercial use could keep the company moving forward. The Mibbit is designed for just one person, the driver, and it can only be used on roads that allow vehicles with engine capacities under 125 cubic centimeters. That means it's legally limited to a top speed of 60 kilometers per hour, or about 37 miles per hour. Drivers also need a full Japanese driver's license, which is usually obtained at age 18 or older. Because of these restrictions, it's not likely to become a common car for everyday commuting across cities or highways. In fact, private ownership of similar mini EVs is still quite rare in Japan. However, that doesn't mean the Mibbit has no place. Its low price, tiny size, and easy maneuverability make it ideal for specific uses. In tourist areas like the Fuji 5 Lakes region, tour companies have started using compact EVs like the Mibbit for scenic drives. This trend shows the Mibbit is a good fit for short local trips, even if it's not suitable for long-distance travel. Where the Mibbit could make a real difference is in Japan's rural and aging communities. Many small towns and villages in Japan are losing population, and public transport options are disappearing. Taxis are often too expensive or unavailable, and while scooters and bicycles are common, they're not safe or comfortable for elderly people, especially in bad weather. The Mibbit gives these residents a safer and more practical way to run errands, visit clinics, or get to nearby shops. With more than 29% of Japan's population aged 65 or older, and many areas experiencing rapid depopulation, a simple and affordable vehicle like the Mibbit could help people maintain their independence and dignity. It could also ease the burden on families and local governments trying to find transport solutions for older adults. Kazunari Kusunoki, the founder of KG Motors, has taken a unique approach to marketing. Before starting the company, he ran a YouTube channel focused on cars and technology. That gave him a direct way to connect with fans and potential buyers, without relying on car dealerships or traditional advertising. His online platform has helped him promote the Mibbit to people who are already interested in alternative, practical vehicles. This approach is not just about selling a product, it's also about changing the conversation around what personal mobility should look like in Japan's future. But what about safety? Despite its small size and simple design, the Mibbit has gone through serious testing to meet Japan's strict vehicle safety rules. The Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transport and Tourism oversees this process, and KG Motors made a point of showing the public how seriously they take safety. They released video footage of the Mibbit crashing into solid barriers at high speed, showing how the frame protects the driver inside. The Mibbit structure uses a monocoque chassis, a single-shell frame that's both strong and lightweight. This design helps it absorb impact in crashes, even though it has fewer parts than regular cars. Engineers also tested the Mibbit in extreme weather. In the freezing winters of Hokkaido, where roads are icy and temperatures drop far below zero, the vehicle was put through its paces to ensure it works well in cold conditions. KG Motors also tested it in older neighborhoods with very narrow streets, like in Kyoto and Hiroshima Prefecture, to make sure it could handle tight spaces safely. Even though the Mibbit is a small, single-seat car without fancy features like airbags or advanced safety systems, it still meets the standards required to be road legal in Japan. It proves that even tiny EVs can be safe if they're built well. KG Motors is currently finalizing the certifications needed to begin full-scale production at its facility in Higashi, Hiroshima. This level of safety and careful testing shows that the Mibbit isn't just a novelty. It's a real transportation option, built to serve specific needs in a changing country. And as Japan, and possibly other countries, face aging populations, tighter urban spaces, and rising transportation costs, the Mibbit's model could become more relevant internationally as well. KG Motors plans to export 3,000 units of the Mibbit after completing the first 300 deliveries in Japan, which are scheduled for March 2026. This international expansion is expected to happen between 2026 and 2027. It comes at a time when cities around the world, especially in Europe, North America, and parts of Asia, are facing similar issues to rural Japan, such as aging populations, crowded streets, and limited parking. Other carmakers, like Switzerland's Micromobility with the Microlino, Italy's Renault with the Twizy, and France's Citroën with the Ami, have also started selling similar tiny electric cars. This shows that KG Motors' focus on compact electric mobility fits a growing global trend. The demand for small, affordable electric vehicles is rising. The global market for micro-e-versus is currently worth about $8.9 billion and is expected to grow by nearly 11% every year. By 2031 or 2032, the market could reach over $24 billion. These small cars are especially popular in cities like Paris, Berlin, Tokyo, and Shanghai. Since nearly 70% of the world's population is expected to live in cities by 2050, tiny EVs like the Mibbit are well positioned to meet the needs of crowded urban areas and growing environmental concerns. However, KG Motors isn't alone in this space. Chinese companies like BYD plan to launch small EVs in Japan by late 2026, and South Korea's Hyundai has already introduced low-cost electric cars designed for narrow Japanese streets. These competitors show that the global auto industry is shifting towards simpler, more affordable EVs. If the Mibbit does well, it could encourage even more companies to enter the market for hyperlocal transportation. Still, the Mibbit faces some challenges. Since it's legally considered a moped minicar, it has several restrictions. It can only carry one person, can't be driven on roads that require cars over 125 cubic centimeters, and has a speed limit of 60 kilometers per hour, about 37 miles per hour. Drivers must also have a full Japanese driver's license, which is only available to those 18 and older. Unlike K cars like the Nissan Sakura, which are more spacious and suitable for family use or longer drives, the Mibbit is made only for short, solo trips. Because of these limits, most people don't own cars like the Mibbit for personal use. They're mostly used by businesses, such as rental tour companies and delivery services. This could make it hard for KG Motors to grow if individual buyers don't adopt the vehicle. Even though there is early excitement about the Mibbit, some of it may just be temporary interest. Families often want vehicles with more room for passengers and cargo, and ones that can go on highways. Also, many Japanese consumers still trust hybrid cars from big brands like Toyota, Honda, and Nissan. These habits might make it harder for something as different as the Mibbit to succeed. Even so, the Mibbit is an interesting and important experiment. It challenges traditional ideas of what a car should be. For older people or rural residents who don't have access to buses or trains, the Mibbit offers a safer, more dignified option than a scooter or bicycle. If KG Motors reaches its goal of producing 10,000 units per year, the company may not become as big as the major automakers, but it could create an entirely new market for small, ultra-local electric vehicles. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe so you won't miss any of our future uploads. And be sure to check out the video on your screen right now. It's something you don't want to miss.